Welcome to a special edition of the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. Today's podcast is highlighted by some of this week's best Undisputed segments. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Everyone knows Michael Jordan is still the GOAT, but for some reason, there are people that try to make a case for LeBron. Jordan was a perfect 6-0 in the finals, and LeBron is trying to make it to an 8th straight finals. Ray Allen said recently that Jordan is, quote, by far the best player ever. That was relayed to J.R. Smith, who said he disagrees with Ray. Let's take a listen.
By far, absolutely not, obviously. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, growing up, obviously, and I got the jersey tatted on my stomach. Like, MJ was the greatest of all time, in my opinion, up until 2 years ago. And I was with Ray Allen by far. But the last couple years, at 33 years old, averaging the triple-double a whole month, walking into the playoffs. I mean, just hit 31,000 points the other day, hit 30,000 points earlier this year, 8,000 rebounds, 8,000 assists.
It's insane, bro. Like,
I mean, how far do we have? Like, what more do we have to keep going as far as whether it's numbers or just ability? Like, at what point do we just say when?
Shannon, do you think JR actually believes this?
I told you, my grandma said 3 people will tell you the truth: kids, drunk, and angry people. Now, it was early in the morning, and I know JR was on that warm hand. So I know he's speaking truth. Yeah! But, Skip, before I go make my thing, lately I've been taking a cue from Donovan Mitchell, Skip. And I hope you don't mind, Skip. I got a little something.
Oh, what is this? What does it say?
You went that far out of your way?
Hold on, Skip. Look, but just to make sure everybody knows, I mean, I deserve one.
What does it
I would
say?
vote for me. I would vote for me to win an Emmy. I mean, I would, Skip. I deserve it.
But you're a client of Clutch Sports or Unclutch Sports. That's how they do it. That's the Clutch Sports handbook say that you're the MVP, you're the Rookie of the Year.
Everybody's been saying it. Yeah. Dame Lillard said he deserves to be All-NBA. This guy said he deserves to be Rookie of the Year. You got your guy politicking, talking about he want to be 6th Man of the Year. So why can't I politic?
He's not talking about it. I am. He hasn't said a word about it. Manu Ginobili?
Well,
he doesn't do that.
But anyway, yes, JR is telling the truth. And the man had, at some point in time, so Ray Allen is a brand Jordan athlete. Is that the reason why he said it? Because, see, anytime someone says someone other than Michael Jordan is the GOAT, we immediately go, okay, Isaiah said it. Well, Isaiah's mad because he came off the 92 Dream Team. Clyde Drexler said, well, he's mad because he got beat in the finals. At what point in time can a guy have a serious, honest discussion and say, well, okay, I just believe on what I've seen that LeBron is better? Why does it always have to be an ulterior? Why does it have to be, well, JR lying? Why does it have to be, oh, this guy has sport? No, Skip. After what I've seen, 31,000, and when it's all said and done, he will be 40,000, 10-10. You know what that means, Skip? 40,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists, 5 regular season MVPs, and another 2 in the finals. And when it's all said and done, and a lot of times more gets said than done, but nobody will have been done more than that man. And that's that man to the right. Yeah, right.
Even you, Shannon Sharp, do not believe that LeBron has already passed Michael Jordan, let alone passed him 2 years ago. JR is saying he did it 2 years ago.
Well, that's what got my
attention. Even you
don't
think that.
That's what got my attention. Because up until that point, I thought, okay, LeBron can gain momentum. He's gained a little momentum. You know, that MC Hammer song, gain it. He started gaining momentum. But after he comes back from 3-1 down, Skip, and those last 3 games, 41-11-5, 41-12-6, and then a triple-double in the end to do it all. Oh, come on, Skip. Get the man his due. You know it.
This is so bad, it's laughable.
No, it's not.
J.R. Smith grew up in North Carolina and got, in high school, a tattoo right in the middle of his stomach of Jordan's jersey, his Bulls jersey, with the Jumpman logo above it and Jordan 2s going one way and the other off the jersey. I guess those are the first ones that JR wore, or the 2s. I don't know. I personally would prefer these, but that's okay.
Skip, that was unnecessary.
Yeah,
Look at you, about to pull a hamstring.
I did not pull a hamstring. I ran a long ways this morning, but
And they
I'm
sore.
still going. Yep. So the point is that JR is actually making the incredibly bogus argument that it's about career stats. He's going to do this. He averaged a triple-double for a month. Who cares? What does it mean? What does it matter? Let's get down to the truth of this issue. J.R. Smith is LeBron's teammate. What do you expect him to say? You're saying he doesn't have any ulterior motive? It's his only motive. Remember, he is playing with the thinnest skinned superstar in the history of sports, LeBron James. He is a great player, but what does Steven Jackson always say, sitting right here on Undisputed? He is the only superstar who has to keep telling you how great he is. And it's true. He has to wear sneakers, LeBron 15s, the other night in Madison Square Garden that say, I'm king. I'm king?
What?
We get it, LeBron.
I don't know.
We know you're really
what,
good.
Skip, you know what I heard? I don't know how true it is. I say, but someone told me this, and it's coming from a very reliable source. I happen to be sitting right next to him when they uttered the words.
Uh-oh.
Halle Berry must be told how great she looks.
Oh. Okay.
Why would you have to tell a woman of that stature that she looked good?
Well,
Have you
I
ever
don't know.
met a woman before?
Whoa!
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Exactly. So give that man and tell him how great he is and how fortunate you are to play alongside him.
What is J.R. Smith going to say on a podcast if he's asked who's better? Is he going to say, oh, obviously Jordan was better? He can't say that.
Yes, he can.
He's got to live with LeBron.
He can say, right, I believe when it's all said and done, LeBron James will surpass Michael Jordan. Because he's going to win another MVP. He's going to win another.
J.R. said he already passed him 2 years ago.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He could have phrased it, but that's what Skip. If that's what that man feels, that's what he feels. Stop trying to get him to
Doesn't
change
feel
his
that.
mind.
He's friends with. They're like running buddies when they're on the road. They go out together.
So?
Well, it's and I
He
get
wasn't
it.
with us when we got sushi. JR wasn't with us.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if somebody
You
asked,
don't even eat sushi.
you know, if somebody asked me who's the greatest tight end ever, I gotta say publicly, it's my guy Shannon.
Oh,
Sharp.
you gotta say
I
that
don't really
publicly.
believe it. But
Okay.
yeah. So how can we even? I wish JR were sitting here. I know JR. I would love
He
to
would
have
tell
him
the
on
truth.
show.
Yeah.
And I would say, JR, one guy is 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs, and the guy that you're saying is better is 3-5, and maybe about to be 3-6 in the NBA Finals. That's horrendously bad.
Okay,
I mean, did any of the epic fails that LeBron has suffered ever happen to Michael Jordan? You can say, well, he got off to a rocky start.
Did you watch him in the '95 Finals against the Orlando Magic when Nick Anderson stole the ball from him?
Yeah.
Did you see that, Skip?
Yeah, after he'd been out for 2
I
years.
don't understand how that affects LeBron.
2
But
years.
so what you try? I see what you try to do, Skip. See what you try to do. You will always go back to 2011. But that
I could
95.
I'll go back to 2010. His owner accused him of quitting. Did anybody ever accuse Michael Jordan of quitting?
Well, the quote was, they say they accused Noah of drunkenness, but he still got the ark. So
really?
what that doesn't mean it's the truth.
So let's see. LeBron and Noah belong.
I don't know. He got the ark, but they accused him. But with that, Skip, 95 happened. Nick Anderson stole the ball from Michael Jordan. Did he not, Skip?
Yeah, he did. But it was nothing like the greatest superstar meltdown we have ever witnessed, especially on a final stage. LeBron, Heat, Dallas, 2011. I've never seen anything like it before. Even the staunchest blind witnesses said they just couldn't watch it because he unraveled. He came completely apart.
Okay, but Skip, I think everybody, I'm just trying to figure out, if we just going to make it about finals, what is Bill Russell's 11 titles? What does that mean? Does that mean anything?
We're just doing Jordan versus LeBron. That's all.
But I'm just saying,
Don't-
I'm just trying to figure out, how did Jordan become the GOAT with 6 when Russell has 11?
Six MVPs? Wow.
They didn't have the MVP back then.
Okay.
You know that, Skip Bayless.
Well.
The MVP now is known in honor of Bill Russell. So
So
stop.
you think Bill Russell is better than?
I'm just asking because 11. We say titles because the only argument you go to is titles. You don't say. You go to title 6-0. So why is it Russell?
I'm sure that the fact that JR was on uninterrupted when he said it, that he's a client of Clutch Sports, that he
was on
plays
that
with
warm hand,
LeBron
too.
and he got that 4-year contract.
was on
It has
that warm
nothing to
hand,
do
too.
with the fact that he said that Michael isn't as good as
I believe
LeBron is.
JR. And JR got another tattoo on his back at 23 that says Braun.
Oh, does it?
Does
Yep.
he?
I did not know that.
I know.
I don't
You
think
didn't
JR
know.
knows that either.
There's a lot of things you
Yeah,
don't know.
Somebody just made that up sitting across.
You do not want to get, but you know what, Skip? Sooner or later, you're going to have to say his name.
Who? I mean, doesn't he have to change his tattoo? Who wants the second best player of all time tattooed
No.
on his stomach?
No. He going to put Braun over Jordan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Just change the color of the jersey to wine, maybe?
Skip.
Yeah.
At some point in time, you're going to have to acknowledge the man's greatness. You don't have to don't do it now, but in about 2 months, you will.
No mercy.
Lonzo Ball's highly scrutinized first season in the NBA is over. Lonzo said yesterday that Magic Johnson told him this offseason will be the, quote, biggest summer of his life. Lonzo averaged about 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists this season, but he also shot a disappointing 36% from the field and 45% from the free throw line. He talked about his shooting and the Lakers' future yesterday. Let's take a listen.
Did Magic and Rob and Luke, what did they have to say to you about your shooting? And what do you feel like you need to do to improve that shot?
Just shoot it with confidence for one, and then for two, just keep putting the work in. You know, don't change the form, nothing. I've been shooting like that my whole life, so they said they're fine with it. Just make sure I get the reps up. Yeah, just, perfect it pretty much. You want to be a good shooter, you got to shoot. And then, start making them and translate it to the game.
Coming into the season, one of the things people said about you was that some of the pressure that was on you was to show guys like LeBron and Paul George that you were ready for them. Do you think you did that, and did you feel any of that pressure at any point this season?
No, the way I play is just to help my team win. So like I said, I'm not really worried about who's not here. I'm worried about the guys that are here, and I just did what I could, to help my team out. So, whether it be LeBron, Paul George, or whoever, they liked it. If they didn't, they didn't. I can't do anything about it now.
Shannon, what was your takeaway from what you heard from Lonzo?
He's absolutely right, Skip. This is a very important summer for him. But the first thing he needs to do before he works on that jump shot, Skip, is to get into the gym. He has to get stronger. He has to be able to ward off some of these injuries.
Yep.
So once he does that, Kevin Martin had a funky shot, Skip. And there were 6 seasons he averaged at least 20 points, had the career average of 17. So I wouldn't completely redo it because he's been shooting like this. He's 20 years of age. He's been shooting like this for at least 15 of those years.
Yep.
So just look, you're gonna have to put that time in, and he can work. I mean, he can get this shot better. Like I said, Kevin Martin had a very similar shot.
He did.
And he was able to get that shot off and average 20 points for 6 seasons. So I believe Lonzo can do that. But he must get stronger in his lower body and his upper body, Skip, because these injuries, they kept him down for far too long.
I agree with you. He's got to get his, as his father would say, ball body going. He's got to mature physically, and I believe he will. Might start with changing his nutrition because I don't think it's very good at this point, but you know how kids are.
Yes.
But I'm not as concerned about the jump shot as I am by the free throws. You cannot last in this league shooting 45%. He was 32 of 71 free throws. That means you didn't shoot enough to start with. And number two, you're kind of running from the free throw line because you're just afraid you're going to look bad at the free throw line. What was the difference in his jump shot and his free throw line shot? He tried to shoot it conventionally. At the free throw line, he tried to shoot it on the right side of his face, right?
Yeah.
And it looked awkward, and it kind of made me wince just to watch it because I don't think he had any faith in his little conventional set shot from the free throw line. That's what he should work on first because he can't. He's 6'7", and he's got gears, so he can get in the lane.
Right.
He could get to the brim if he wanted to. Well, he better, or he's not going to last in this league. And then number two, what caught my ear was not what Magic said about this is an important summer. Obviously, it's a crucial summer. But Kyle Kuzma said yesterday that Lonzo, and Kyle's his best buddy, Lonzo needs to, if you get this phrase right, attack his mentality, meaning he's got to get tougher mentally and commit to playing harder. Did anybody in the Lakers play harder than Kyle Kuzma? Did anybody come in with a greener light, just jacking it up?
Look at Julius Randle.
Yeah.
His mentality is, I'm going to the rack, stop me.
Yeah.
So that's also Lonzo is going to have to adopt that policy. I'm going to the rack. Stop me. But I agree with Magic. I wouldn't change his shot, Skip. He's been shooting like this so long. I believe you would set him back. Let him have the shot, but let him know he's going to have to work on it, and he's going to have to shoot it, work on it, shooting a jumper with it. Because Skip, he can't get it off right now.
Yep.
Because right now it's a set shot.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to learn how to shoot that shot while jumping into the air. But he has the ability. I don't see transcendental like you, but I believe he can be a very good basketball player.
I'm going to go to my grave saying that his father basically did him in his rookie year, because I will remind you, despite, this is beyond all the outlandish claims that he made about how Lonzo's already better than Steph. Just remember what happened. In November, LeVar Ball criticized Julius Randle. You can't do that.
No.
He's his teammate, and he's a veteran teammate or an older teammate.
And
right?
he wants to give you respect because you're his teammate's father.
What? You can't do that. And then in January, LeVar Ball dared to say publicly, the team has quit on Coach Luke Walton. Really? The team has quit and your son's the point guard of the team? How do you think that went off in the locker room? How do
Not
you think,
very well.
I don't know how Luke, I don't know what was going on, but it had to be uneasy at best on this 20-year-old to have to respond and play after that. So I'm giving him some break. But what I saw this year that I did not see at UCLA or never heard about on the AAU level was Lonzo Ball, too many games, just unplugged. He just came out effortless, emotionless, like he didn't really care.
Right.
Too many times I saw him walk the ball up the floor and flip it to the wing and go stand in the far corner. I don't know who that was. I didn't see it in the summer league.
Well, I agree with you. The thing that I'm most surprised by, because there was no indication, and I never heard anyone mention anything about him being this poor of a free throw shooter.
Yeah.
I don't think he didn't struggle like this at UCLA, Skip.
No.
So, and like you said, maybe that's one of the things. Like, you know what? If I get in the lane, they foul me. I'm gonna have to go to the free throw line. Well, I'm struggling on that end, so I don't really want to go to the free throw line and miss. Be 0 for 2 because he wasn't even 50%, Skip. He's under that.
Yeah.
So that's not a good look. But that's, like I said, get your body right.
Get your mind right.
Get your mind right.
Get your emotions right. I'm okay with 10, 7, and 7 because it's what Jason Kidd did as a rookie, basically. And I'm okay that he ranked 26th in defensive win shares, which is pretty good for a rookie. But I'm not good with the free throws or the intensity.
Well, now he has the summer to work on it. No mercy. Remember when Josh McDaniels shocked everyone and turned down the Colts to stay in New England? Well, Albert Breer of Monday Morning Quarterback reported it was Robert Kraft, not Bill Belichick, that led the charge to convince McDaniels to stay with the Patriots. Breer added that Kraft is looking towards the future with Belichick about to turn 66 and Tom Brady about to turn 41. Shannon, what's your takeaway from this report?
Everybody knew that. Skip, dude, how many assistants of Coach Belichick has left and he tried to talk them into staying? None. He likes Josh a little more because Josh is the only coach assistant that has left Coach Belichick and has been allowed to come back. But remember, when he came back, Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator. So I think Josh was like an assistant or maybe a wide receiver coach or something. So we know what Coach Belichick thinks of Josh, but he wasn't going to try and talk him into staying because he felt that if he can get Josh out the way, it's more likely that Tom Brady would get out the way. Mr. Kraft said, like, well, when I sat down and thought about it, I got a 66-year-old coach and a 41, and we need long-term security. Coach Belichick said, Bob, did you realize what I was trying to do here? We had long-term security in the form of Jimmy Garoppolo. And you made me get up off him. So Coach Belichick said, you know what? Now I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to wait it out. Because I know what you're trying to do, Mr. Kraft, Bob Kraft. I call him Mr. Kraft. Coach Belichick called him Bob. I know what you're trying to do. You tried to make me let me go, get me to go. And, Josh should be right here and everything stays the same. And Tom Brady, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to wait this out. I'm going to last longer than Tom Brady, and I'm going to go get me one of them Lombardis without him, and there will be no doubt in anybody's mind who's most responsible for the success of the New England Patriots. But I don't. Nobody ever thought that Coach Belichick talked Josh McDaniels because he knew Josh.
That was the story that got put out.
Yeah, he knew Josh. If he wanted Josh to stay, he knew Josh had accepted this offer. I'm sure Josh McDaniels had told Coach Belichick. He even knew that he was going to interview for the job. He could have said, look, I'm only going to be here a couple of more years. Don't even worry about that. You're going to be my successor. Everything will be okay here. So Belichick said, well, go ahead on. Go on over there.
So do you think those initial reports were spin control, spin doctoring by the Kraft family, right?
Yes.
Because remember, this happened 2 days after a very emotional, gut-wrenching loss in the Super Bowl in which Bill Belichick's defense gave up 41 points to Nick Foles as Malcolm Butler stood on the sideline. Can I play, Coach? Nope, you can't play. You're in the doghouse for the whole game after you played 98% of the snaps during the regular
Skip, you got to let that go,
I cannot let it go because that was the essence of that Super Bowl loss. So, again, I think they tried to put out the story. Oh, Coach Belichick knocked on Josh's door and said, hey, think about this. And, hey, let me give you part of my responsibility. Baloney. I think neither of us thought that.
No.
Right?
No.
So what I thought was about to happen, but it didn't. In fact, it swung the other way. I sincerely believe, because I was still raw from the loss, I thought Kraft was about to fire Bill Belichick. That's what I thought. I thought he looked at the whole year, and after he obviously ordered him to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, he had given away Jimmy Garoppolo for a mere second-round pick to the 49ers, and then he effectively sabotaged the defense in the Super Bowl. After he's stuck.
Stop using that word.
Well, didn't it feel like that?
No.
Well, what if you know, I'm not saying he's your best defensive player, but he's your best defensive back. Is that fair to say? Yeah, he is. He is. He's your best defensive back. And you don't play him a single down as Nick Foles lights you up and scored 41 points. What does that feel like to you? Seriously, what does that feel like?
It would hurt, Skip.
Yeah.
It would hurt because the guy that's played so much, we've seen him make the play that got Malcolm Butler known by becoming a household name was he only played 18 snaps on the defense, but he will forever be known he made the greatest defensive play, maybe in NFL history. Forget the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the history for the significance and what it did.
I would agree with that. I can't think of one more significant than that. No.
And then, Skip, think about what Josh says. He says, well, I didn't know what my future was going to be. Huh? Your future was going to be, you was going to be head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And
by the way, given your flame out in Denver, isn't that a pretty good second chance?
yes!
Wow.
Because you've been a bust of epic proportion. Every place you've called plays, with the exception of New England and having Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You called plays for Kyle Orton. You called plays for, no, you were gone. You got fired before Tebow got into the lineup.
He picked Tebow.
Right.
Go ahead.
You called plays in the Rams for Sam Bradford.
You did.
And you were terrible. So the only place that you've had success is in New England calling plays for Tom Brady. Coach Belichick, this is so out of the norm for Coach Belichick. Coach Belichick talking to one of his assistants, because what made Coach Belichick so great is that he's had such great turnover and he still had success.
Yeah.
Charlie Weiss leaves, so win. Romeo Cornell leaves, win. Eric Mangini leaves, we win. So what makes Coach Belichick's lure so appealing is that it doesn't matter who comes or goes.
Nope.
He still wins.
So what do you think that, well, again, we were supposed to believe Bill Belichick, but let's say Kraft and or Belichick had to tell Josh McDaniels to make him opt completely out. He'd already accepted the job and they had announced it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what would he be told that would make him completely turn and look pretty bad publicly to stay in New England? What would he have to know?
You on deck.
Okay. And how soon are you going to be on deck? Maybe next year, right? Maybe one more year?
Well, I think that obviously this is his dream job. His dream job was to be the head coach and actually coach Tom Brady. But I don't know if that. I believe Coach Belichick gonna wait him out now. Coach Belichick doesn't like because he saw Mr. Kraft. You see, I see what you're doing. You didn't try to talk Charlie Weiss. You didn't try to talk Eric Mangini or Romeo Cornell or Bill O'Brien. but you wanted him. I see what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to team up on me, make it 3 against 1. You, Josh McDaniels, and Tom Brady against old Bill. But Bill ain't going nowhere.
Okay, so you can laugh at me if you want, but I would have fired Bill Belichick after that Super Bowl. That's
Why?
I just would have over the whole year. It would feel like after I told him you have to trade your guy, then it's not going to work. From that point forward, it's not going to work, and I would say, Bill, I chose Tom, and I'm going to stick with Tom, and you need to go find your last hurrah, your last stop. And he would have. But something happened that we don't know. Maybe... I would have done it, but Robert Kraft would not have. He's not made of the kind of stuff that it would take to fire Bill Belichick.
He's not a confrontational guy.
No, he's not.
Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones.
You better believe it.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you know, listen to him talk. He says, Mr. Kraft tells you, he tries to avoid conflict. He tries to appease both sides. He goes to Coach Belichick, okay, Bill, this is what we're going to do. He goes to Tom, okay, Tom, this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
He doesn't like to be the bickering. He doesn't like to be in the middle of it. So that would be totally out of his character. Now, he did put his foot down. He put his foot down once before with Coach Parcells.
He did.
Like, this is my grocery store. You ain't shopping for Jack up in here.
Yep. But he had to put his foot down because there was a thing called the deadline. Yeah. Like it came where you had to fish or cut bait with Jimmy G, right?
Right.
You're either going to have to sign him for the long term and go with him and tell your quote-unquote son Tommy, I'm sorry, but you got one more year. Well, that would have been it.
Right.
But you got half a year more, right? Or you got to tell Bill Belichick, I'm sorry, but you have to trade him. And he chose that route, and the only curveball to this whole thing, I thought that's where we're heading, anti-Belichick, and all of his comments over the last 2 weeks have been pro-Belichick and anti-Brady, and I don't get it.
Yeah, we need to start thinking about a succession plan. We got a quarterback going to be 41 years old.
Remember
and
when
you know
he
what
got
happened
hurt?
in 2008, and long term, And
So
Coach Belichick.
is it possible Robert Kraft, for the first time in his ownership life, is choking? Is he just choking? Like he's just caught in the middle and he's trying to play both sides against the middle?
Well, the thing is, Skip, he's giving Coach Belichick such great latitude to have you do what you need, give him carte blanche service. And the one time, he might be having buyer's remorse. He might be like, you know what, Bill, maybe you were right. But there's nothing you can do about it. San Francisco is not trading Jimmy Garoppolo back to you. So where are you now, Skip? And just think, Tom Brady retires next year, and let's just say they take a quarterback in the second or the third round. You know what it's going to be like, Skip, for a couple of years. It's never going to be like that once Tom Brady leaves. But Coach Belichick.
So if you're Josh McDaniels, why would you say yes to that 2 days after the Super Bowl? Why would you stay in New England? If you think Tom's only going to be there for one more year, why would you?
But he doesn't think that. I mean,
Josh?
Josh.
I think Josh thinks 4 more years.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why he would stay.
Yeah.
Because Tom Brady makes you look pretty good, you know.
Whoa, Skip.
Does he not? Well, you just said it.
Well, who called that play that he fumbled the ball? That's what I want to know. Who called that play that he dropped the pass? I want to know who called it because I demand.
Who knew Jimmy G had this much juice? No mercy. The Patriots are reportedly interested in drafting Lamar Jackson, according to Bleacher Report's Mike Freeman. Several other teams have reportedly also been impressed with Jackson's intelligence and football knowledge. NFL Network posted this image of Jackson and Bill Belichick with a quote from NFL writer Bucky Brooks, saying, I believe after watching Deshaun Watson tear up his defense, he said, I want a player like Lamar Jackson. Deion Sanders responded to the post saying, about time they get the revelation. And Tom Brady responded to Deion saying about Lamar Jackson, he's a beast, and it has a lot of exclamation points. I believe it has a little emoji at the end there, too.
Thumbs up. Way to go.
Shannon, do you think Brady's being sincere or sarcastic?
Sarcastic. And it's sad. That's another S I want to use. It's sad. Skip, you know he's not being sincere. Tom Brady does not view Lamar Jackson as a threat. So if they were to draft Lamar Jackson, he's like, I got at least another 2-3 years if I want it. Now, when everybody was mentioning, it was circulating that the Patriots, now that they have the firepower, they traded Brandon Cooks, that they have a second, first round pick, they might be willing to move up and get one of these young quarterbacks. I ain't hear Tom Brady say nothing about Sam Darnold's a beast. Oh, Baker Mayfield, ooh, that dude lights out. Now, he got a burner account because he got a little KD in him. He got the other. You ain't see what he said from that burner account. Lamar Jackson, thumbs down.
Yep.
You ought to be ashamed with yourself, Skip Bayless. You know Tom Brady is not being sincere because this is what we know about quarterbacks throughout the history of time. When they view a guy as a threat, they clam up. Brett Favre's best friend on the Packers was who, Skip? Ty Detmer, Doug Peterson. He sure wasn't chummy with Aaron Rodgers. Joe Montana was, I guarantee you, Joe Montana was chummier with Matt Cavanaugh, his backup, than he was Steve Young.
Yep.
You cut a wager on that? Now, when they were talking about when he was out and Jimmy Garoppolo was cutting it up, he ain't doing no much. He ain't like, good job, Jimmy G. Woo, Jimmy G doing it. Not one word.
He might have texted him. Congratulations. He might have. You don't know this.
We'll text Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Because you come off as insincere, because we already know you golly gee whiz. Oh, man, come on, guys. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip Bayless, knowing that he's sarcastic and it's sad.
Well, don't tell me I'm ashamed because I'm with you. I think this is outrageous sarcasm and a break from, like a shocking break from typical Brady behavior, because this is nothing but a shot at Bill Belichick. This is screaming to me, take him, Bill. Love it. Go ahead. He's a beast. Even his choice of words. Like, Lamar's a lot of things, but I wouldn't call Lamar a beast because he doesn't, like, run over people. He doesn't. I get it. It's like he has beastly production. But that's not the right word.
Skip. Cam Newton, the last two
Yeah,
times
there you go.
they played the Patriots,
Yeah, he's
Cam
been a
Newton is
beast.
beating them. But you don't want no guy. Cam Newton has ripped him up. First of all, Skip Bayless, you know this. If Bill Belichick's going to take somebody, nobody's going to know what Bill, because he don't want anybody to zoom up past him and get it. Coach Belichick is not going to let something like this out of the bag. And Tom.
So usually, until lately, Tom Brady has been, to your point, goody two-shoes, PC, say all the right things, play it safe, safe, safe. And to me, you could interpret this as very safe. Oh, yeah, he's a beast with the 4 exclamation points. Thumbs up to Lamar. Way to go. Not with the Cold War that is clearly going on between Brady and Belichick.
Correct.
Not with the backstory that Bill Belichick is still trying to push Tom Brady out the back door into the sunset. Not after Tom Brady opened up episode 6, the final episode of Tom versus Time, by showing the deep gash in his thumb to say, hey, Bill, look, I want the world to see that you said this was more media circus than football crisis, that this wasn't open heart surgery. And look at this. This is a pretty deep gash, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
on my throwing hand.
And what I believe with the root of this, Tom Brady does not come off looking good in that ESPN story for pushing Jimmy Garoppolo out the door. Oh, yeah. Don't think I remember that story. I read that story, Skip. You read it, too.
Yeah.
He went to
how
his
would
dad.
you feel if you're Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever, and all of a sudden the guy who's not your dad, your head coach that you've never been close to, who's never buddied up to you remotely, that you've never socialized with or played golf with by choice.
Because I knew it was going to come to this one day.
All
No matter how great you are, there will come a time.
That head coach has anointed his diamond in the rough, Jimmy G, out of the second round, as next year's starter. How would you feel? What would you do? Would you bless him? Would you put your arm around him and hug him?
I wouldn't go tell my dad.
Yeah. Well.
Dad, can you tell Coach Belichick to trade Jimmy? Because he don't like me. He won't take me to lunch. What is this?
It's Tom Brady, who he was simply the NFL
and he
MVP last year. He backed it up.
If he wanted Jimmy G out of there, and then go talk about him and Jimmy G close. No, y'all not.
So listen, look at this. Listen to this statement. Think about deeper what's going on here. He's a beast, says Tom Brady to Deion Sanders about Lamar Jackson. Okay, help me out here.
Okay.
Why would it help Tom Brady to spend all of your draft capital, a bunch of your ammo, your draft ammo that you have just piled up in your storage, right?
Yes.
Why would you spend all of your best picks to go up into the, I don't know how far you'd have to go up to get Lamar, what, in the top 10-ish or so?
Well, no, I don't think you have to go up in the top 10 to get him, Skip.
To make sure, let's say he really wants, I'm with you. They're going to smoke screen, but they're not going to tell you who they really want.
Exactly.
But if you spend all of your top picks, your 2 firsts and maybe one of your second to go your best second, the early one that you got for
40, 43, I think.
Okay, if you spend all that to go into to make sure that you get Lamar Jackson to go up to, let's say, in the top 10, around 10ish.
Yes.
Okay, just to make sure. You might even need to go a little higher than that.
Okay.
So you get him. What does Lamar Jackson do for Tom Brady next year? Does it help make the Patriots better next year? No.
Well,
so why would Tom Brady want that just on the surface of, are you helping Tom Brady win next year's Super Bowl? No. You're hurting his chances of winning next year's Super Bowl.
Now, if they were to trade up and grab old Baker Mayfield, old Sam Darnold, and then he tweet out, congrats, guys, I look forward. Damn, now we talking to something. Now we talking about something. Because right now we already know Tom BSing. Tom is not sincere because he viewed Lamar Jackson is not an immediate threat. He's at least, what, Skip, a year, 2 years away from being what they would need him to be to be a Super Bowl contending team, because at the Patriots, that's what they play for. They don't play for it.
To get him ready to go win a Super Bowl?
Right.
A couple of years,
yes.
I would say.
So Tom Brady, that's not a threat. Tom Brady's like, I'm going to be gone. By the time he's ready to play, I'm going to be home with my kids, taking them to soccer practice every day. So I'm not worried about no Lamar Jackson.
Unless you think Belichick has finally bought in, thanks to Mr. Kraft, but it doesn't sound like either one has. But if they've bought into Tom's going to play for 4 more years, 3 more years, then they'd say, well, let's make sure we get Lamar ready for 3 or 4 years from now. Okay, I'd buy that, but I don't.
And think about it. What we're starting to see, that if somebody says anything like the Malcolm Butler when Brandon Browner, when he tweeted that, and when things about Coach Belichick, Tom Brady's starting to like a lot of stuff that has to do with Coach Belichick in this game.
Yeah, it's Cold War, but it's open war to me. They won't publicize it because they're not going to take public shots, but it's all inside innuendo between the lines. This is a shot at Belichick. He's basically saying, do it, Bill. Go ahead. Go up there and get him. I dare you.
Old Darth Vader. Old Darth Vader, old Coach Belichick. I like Coach Belichick. He's a good man. Good man. Good people. Good football mind. Good man.
Yeah.
Sit down, have a beer with you, laugh and talk. Yeah, I like him.
Luckiest coach in the history
Stop
of
it.
football.
He ain't lucky.
Yeah.
No.
Because Tom Brady fell into his lap.
He had the misfortune, he was at Cleveland, and he learned a lot of valuable lessons of how to do certain things. And he says, you know what, when I get a second chance, I know what I need to do. Because there have been a lot of coaches that's gotten second chances and become better than they were the first time around. I played for one, Mike Shanahan.
That is true.
Got fired 20 games in with the Raiders. Come to Denver, we go back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Yep, you did. I agree. So, in the end, do you believe that Lamar Jackson will be as good as Deshaun Watson? Because that's what the NFL Network drift is that. Like Belichick saying, I want the next Deshaun Watson. Do you see that?
If he goes to New England, he'll be that. He has to go to a system that understands how to use his talents. So, yes, he could be that. Because he's every bit of the dynamic runner. I think he can throw the ball. Now, we saw him 2 years ago go head-to-head with Deshaun Watson, and that might have been as good a quarterback game play between two guys that we've seen, Skip.
And what happened at the end of the game?
The guy ran out of bounds, had the first down. You saw it, Skip.
I saw Lamar have 4 chances to get it in the end zone, and he couldn't get it in the end zone.
What about the guy that ran out of bounds, Skip?
Did.
Before, he needed 9 yards.
4th down.
Yeah, he needed 4. He got 3 1/4.
I thought Deshaun outplayed him. And I think Deshaun is and will always be a little better thrower of the football than this kid. Just thrower of the back. Deshaun can really rip it from the pocket, man. He can really. It doesn't look like the prettiest throw you've ever seen, but it gets there. And it is deadly accurate. And the bigger the stakes, the more accurate he gets.
I'm still upset at Deshaun Watson.
Yeah?
Yeah, after what he did.
Well, he did it to your guy.
Yeah, because we could have been 3 times national champs. 3 in a row.
Yeah. St. Nick's defense.
I thought you were off St. Nick.
Whoa.
What did he hang on him, 45?
Whoa. What about Coach Belichick?
41. He gave up 41 to Nick Foles.
And his quarterback didn't play well, just like our quarterback didn't play well.
Didn't play well?
Nope.
Wait, Tom Brady didn't play? Are you serious?
I'm Joey.
So, wait,
Joey, that new restaurant got a new location out in Malibu. I got to skip. You know what real estate costs in Malibu?
So he set the NFL playoff record for yards passing in any playoff game in the history of the league, and you say he didn't play well.
Most passing yards in a loss in NFL history.
He turned it over one time.
That's what he got.
One time.
That's what he
just
got.
one time, and that's it. One time. Wow.
Name the quarterback that threw for the most playoff yards in NFL history and took the loss. I'll take losses for 1,000, Alex.
I thought you were off St. Nick.
No. I mean, I had to disagree with St. Nick's because LeBron started that barbershop, that docu-series, like what he does. So he and Draymond had it going, and St. Nick is trying to infringe on our patent. We got that copyrighted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That time that LeBron came up with the idea of bringing a camera in the barbershop.
Yeah. Oh,
By the way, episode 2 is up with CJ Mosley, so.
Well, hold on. Who? Do you not know who we are? Not get our letter?
No, I think they got the letter and they were like, that's cute, LeBron. You didn't come up with the idea of doing any kind of content in a barbershop.
He's trying to skip.
Yeah.
Now, we got very high-profile lawyers
I don't know.
out of D.C.
I'm gonna watch.
working on this.
No mercy. Josh Rosen is definitely not lacking in confidence. His former coach, Jim Mora, called him, quote, a challenge. Rosen was asked about that by ESPN The Magazine and said, quote, if you can take radioactive material and concentrate it, you can get something real special out of it. In that interview, Rosen said, quote, I want to be great in everything I do. As far as football, I always looked up to Kellen Moore of Boise State. I thought it was the coolest that he was the winningest quarterback of all time. I thought that was a cool word, winningest. So I want to be the winningest quarterback in NFL history. I want to win the most games and the most championships. I'd say 6 titles, but if Tom Brady gets 6, I'll say 7. Aim low. We're joined by Fox NFL draft analyst Joel Klatt. Welcome, Joel.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Joel, did that interview help or hurt Rosen's draft stock?
Okay, so I want to back into that answer because I want to start with this fact. Josh Rosen is the most NFL-ready quarterback in this draft. He's the most skilled passer. He dealt with the pro-style system. He took more snaps under center. All of those things are true. If it wasn't for some of these red flags surrounding Josh, I believe he would be the runaway #1 pick in the draft. However, that selection is not made in a vacuum, so all of the things have to be considered. One is his on-field durability, which has been questioned, and then the other is what we're going to get into here, which is the off-field, let's say, quote-unquote, attitude of Josh Rosen. And unfortunately for him, this article, which was, I believe, meant to help Josh Rosen, is ultimately going to hurt Josh Rosen. The reason is because this entire article was a walking contradiction. Every time I would read an answer, the next answer was flying directly in the face of the previous answer. Let me just cite some examples. He goes to say, listen, I'm me, so deal with it. I value authenticity. He says, don't tell me how to live my life. And yet, in other answers, he says, I need to refine my message, understand what I'm trying to, quote unquote, portray, know where it plays and where it doesn't. So he takes on this motive of controlling his own narrative and it also saying, like, my narrative is my narrative, so deal with it. That's a contradiction. He goes on to say that my passion is for football and I want to be the best quarterback I can be. And then he goes on to say, I just want to be happy and I want to save the world. Well, those two things fly in the face of one another, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL context. He's also, and this one I thought was very interesting. He talks about one of his main regrets from college was the Donald Trump situation. Okay, so he wears the Trump hat and then he uses the F word and it kind of blows up online, okay? And he says, hey, that was a regret of mine. And then he says, the biggest regret from the situation was that I used the F word, okay? And then he goes on to say, I'm a role model. He embraces his stature as a role model in the community and for kids. He used the F word 3 other times in the article, in answers, including the answer directly after that question. So I started thinking, well, which one is it? And this is my point. This article ultimately hurts because he's not maximizing his opportunities. While some teams might say, listen, he's taking ownership of his own arrogance and he wants to be a great football player, there are going to be others that put it down on their table and they're going to say, this is a case study and why we shouldn't draft Josh Rosen, even though he's the most NFL-ready quarterback. He's the best in terms of his efficiency of movement. He's the most beautiful player at the position, and yet we can't take him because of these X, Y, and Zs.
Skip, for me, I would put, of all the things, the way I evaluate a quarterback, I would put down the one-on-one conversation as the least important. because I know these guys have spent the last 8 weeks with former coaches and former general managers. They know what to say and they know how to say it. Because if you notice, he says, I want to win the most championships. I want to win 6 because Tom Brady has 5. But if Tom Brady wins another, I'm going to say 7.
Yeah.
So I know what to say. I know how to say it. He says, well, if you can harness radioactive material, you can get something beautiful. Well, what the hell if I'm not a scientist? What am I supposed to do with radioactive? I'm a football coach. Skip, I don't know what they're going to do with this young man.
Yeah.
Because I agree with everything you said. He is a walking contradiction. I don't even know if he knows what he wants. He happens to be really, really good at football, but I don't know if that's really, really his passion. See, 2 things can be true, Skip. You can be good at something, but that's not your passion. We saw that with Barry Sanders. That's why it was so easy for him to walk away.
That's
He
true.
said,
Yeah.
he says,
And nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. The reason why he says, my desire to leave is greater than my desire to stay.
Yep.
So if his desire to do other things than play NFL quarterback, Skip, he'll play a couple of years. He's still gonna be a first-round draft pick.
Yep.
He'll play a couple of years, and then he'll go off and do his own thing.
That is correct. I did not love Josh Rosen before I read this article, and now I like him much less. This is a case study in why you should not spend a high draft choice on this young man. Before this, I did not love his makeup. I did not love his intangibles. I didn't love his mental toughness. I didn't love his durability. I didn't love the fact that he often came across as a spoiled rich kid, because I think that's basically what he is, bottom line. And it offended me that he talked about, well, if Tom wins 6th, I'll have to win 7, when he's won nothing in his life that I can see. He didn't win anything in college, and I don't know his high school career at Don Bosco that well.
St. John Bosco.
Yeah, but
It was decent. Obviously, he was a great player.
he was a great player.
One of the,
he won
top-ranked
awards,
recruits
but
in
I
the
don't think
country.
they won. I don't think they won any.
But that's a good school. It's out of Jersey, right?
Yeah. No, it's right. It's right here in Southern
Bellflower,
California.
and it's south.
Don Bosco. Okay.
John, it's St. John.
St. John Bosco.
St. John,
right
okay,
here in
I'm talking
Southern
about the one
California.
in
Don Bosco's
Bellflower.
in New
No,
Jersey.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of that one also, but this is the one down in Bellflower.
Yes.
So the point is, you won what? You did what? And he's talking about, I love Kellen Moore, winningest. Or were you close to being the winningest college quarterback? I don't see it. So to me, I say this every year about these quarterbacks. You better know or don't risk the high pick. And now somebody's going to risk a high pick on him, I assume. Will he go in the top? Let's say, what's his floor? How far could he fall to where? 13, 14, 15?
Potentially. And listen, it's not unprecedented that we see someone with this type of ability level fall into the 20s.
Maybe.
We saw it with Aaron Rodgers, and there's certainly a lot of similarities.
But I always say this. If I have any doubts about one of these we got 5 kids who are up there in the top somewhere, I'm not taking him in the first round, because he'll just disappoint you, he'll frustrate you, and he'll leave your fans up in arms at you. You know, like, what did you do? Because once you take him at 2, let's say the Giants take him at 2, well, then you're stuck with this experiment, and it's going to go on for a while because your pride's going to be on the line, and you're going to try him, and you're going to try him for 2 years, and then 3 years, and finally, at some point, you're going to say, you know what, he's just not that guy.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me, I've followed him closely since he committed to UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is that, you know, the narrative early in his career was what a great athlete he was as a kid as well. And remember, he was a great individual tennis player, like a really good. The problem with that, and this is going to sound harsh, but Shannon, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. The locker room in the NFL or any level of football does not treat individual sport mentalities all that well.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because you can be a good teammate. Your teammates can like you, and yet you can affect your locker room negatively by the things that you say. Let me cite an example. During an interview during his college career, he said he chose UCLA to, quote unquote, mess with people. Like it was, you know, not necessarily the place that he should go, so I'm going to do that to mess with people. Well, he might think that, and that's fine, but he's not the only one that answer is beholden to. Remember, there are guys walking through those doors, trying to bust their butt every single morning in the weight room and on the practice field, and then they look at the quarterback and they're like, he's only here because he's playing a big joke on everybody? Wait. So That's why I say the individual sport mentality sometimes with Josh bleeds over in these interviews, and that's the contradictions that I'm seeing in this piece in the magazine.
And he did bring up the name Tom Brady, so I'm going to refer one thing about Tom Brady. I don't like quarterbacks who are self-obsessed, who are self-analyzing and constantly saying, I'm trying to figure out the world. The one thing I love about Tom Brady, in public, he never talks about what he thinks about religion, politics, or anything else. He's just all about my teammates and football. And I've never heard one of his teammates, and I've known a whole bunch of them back through my days in television, who ever had one negative thing to say about Tom Brady. I will bet you some of Josh Rosen's teammates have not loved some of his behavior and how he carries himself.
He's a guy that the more he talks, you wish he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly, every time he opens his mouth, it seems a toe comes out because he puts his foot in his mouth. You never say, the only reason I went here to mess with someone because someone wanted me to go somewhere else. Right. And so I did this because, bruh. And in tennis, what is that, Skip? That's an individual sport.
It is.
So you can have the me. Yeah. Or if you play golf, individual sport, me. But when you play on football, especially, there are 109 guys on the college football team. You go to the NFL, there's 53. I tell you what, be a quarterback and take that attitude to the NFL.
And you have to be uniquely aware of the way that your wake, behind a boat, your wake affects the locker room. In an individual sport, you don't have to worry about that because you're the only one in that locker room.
Last point. Maybe prototypically he's the most ready to play in the NFL because he came from more pro style.
As a player, he's beautiful.
No, I got it.
He is.
But to me, Baker Mayfield has played on bigger stages and bigger stakes games than he has, and Baker Mayfield will not be afraid of the NFL. I think you could throw him into the fire next year, and he would not disappoint you the way this kid will if you throw him into a big fire next year.
Yeah. If he gets into the right fit, Josh Rosen will succeed. He's good enough as a player. Now, is that team going to be willing to get over some of these red flags? That's the question.
Yeah, like Donovan Mitchell say, if you take a test long enough, you should be good at it. They've been asking.
Study for the test.
Yeah, they study. Yeah, and the thing is, they done sat down with these head coaches and general managers and know every question that they're going to be asked. Oh, yeah, I want to win 7 championships. Oh, yeah, I just like winning. Winning is everything to me. Stop.
Well, I don't know. Take a shot at Kellen Moore either, but I don't know if that's the one you want. That's the NFL
Boise
aiming
State,
for.
Baby, Boise
Joel,
State.
thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us again at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Monday. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.